Hi, this is Amy with the US Chartbreakers here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Wednesday, the 21st of May. Starting off with the S&P, which has fulfilled the breakout of the inverted head and shoulders that we had in place from March. Neckline resistance 57.80, and we're looking for not only the record highs through 61.50, but also the resistance line projection from this time last year as high as 63.40 by the end of next month. Obviously a punchy call there, but market has been pretty punchy from the lows of 4,800. I suppose that would be the best case scenario. Ideally, we just say back to 61.50 by the end of next month. On the downside, hoping that 57.80 will cap any losses. Moving on to the Nasdaq, and here also broken higher, slightly more positive candles than the S&P, but same kind of story in terms of the approach on the record highs, 22,200. Difference here is that we're way above the old March resistance at 20,200. In fact, the reference point at the moment for support, probably around 20,900, ahead of a potential move to the top of the, or at least that resistance line projection there from June last year, as high as 22,800, hoping with that by the end of next month. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with a new name, and it is Akero Therapeutics. Here we've got a rising trend channel that's been in place basically since March last year. The resistance line projection target up to $66. We're looking for that by perhaps the end of next month, given that we're just breaking the middle of that W-shaped reversal that we've had there with the high low on the right-hand side. So ideally, the more time we spend above the $46 area, the better in terms of getting to $65 or $66 by the end of next month. Stock we've looked at recently, Cantor Equity Partners, and here in this very steep rising trend channel, the share is absolutely on fire, obviously, and top of the channel there, heading towards the $80 mark. I can argue exactly, well, we could argue about exactly what the angle is and what the target is, but towards the 80 level is the target there for the end of next month, while we're above recent resistance. And yesterday's support zone around $38. An old favorite is returning here in the form of D-Wave, and here you can see that we've gapped above our previous price channel target there. That was around the $13 mark, above 13, looking for an acceleration to the upside. There's a resistance line projection there from the end of December. That's heading towards the $24 area. We're looking for that by the end of next month, or even sooner. Obviously, the way things are going, we could get there by the end of this month. Ideally, there's no end-of-day close back below yesterday's support, around $14.60. Next on the list is Edible, and here the situation is that we're trying to bounce off the lows. We've got a rising 50-day line now, which is always encouraging. We've gapped off the low as well, which is even more encouraging, and looking really for the shares to hit the top of the rising trend channel base, which I'm about to draw at the moment. That would be heading towards the $5.10 area, but obviously we can see that the pre-market is at $6, so we have to go for the next level up, which would be the upper parallel of that resistance line, as high as $9 by the end of next month. Ideally, we stay above the old March resistance, whatever happens, around $4.20. Onto a stock which I think we've looked at before, but perhaps only once, Heart Sciences, and here you can see that we've got a rising trend channel, top of the channel there, heading for as high as $6.20, looking for that by the end of next month, while we're above recent resistance around the $3.80 level. Obviously the pre-market there around $4.06. Returning to the next stock as well, the Intellicheck, and here gapping higher and doing it with style. The initial target here was around $3.50. Above that, we're looking for $4.60, hopefully over the next few sessions. Best case would be up to $5 plus. In fact, $5.40 maybe by the end of next month, while we're above the $3.50 zone. New name is next, and it's Lipella, or Lipella rather, and here the picture is that of a extended basing that we've had here for recent months. Obviously we had that couple of spikes there, which have obviously been sold into. Hopefully this one will not be sold into, and we'll get up to the top of the range and the top of that rising trend channel base at $5.20 by the end of next month. Upside value while we hold above recent resistance around $2.75. Moving on to Neuraxis, and here we were hoping that the support would come here at the old resistance, 2024 resistance around 390, but as you can see the pre-market of 313. That means we're shifting down towards the latest resistance around 250, so above 250 looking for the upside to prevail rather than around the 390 level. Either way, as long as we're above the 50-day line now, rising at $2.14, still looking for the shares to rebound back towards $4 and beyond. One of the best stocks of the year, and one of the best stocks ever actually, has been Regencell, and here the lap of honour continues. We've had various targets here which were all beaten. The initial one obviously $26, then up to 40, then 64 and 100. Current situation is that we're still well above the 50-day moving average, and in terms of the near-term action, I think the only thing you can say is really we're looking for potential dip towards the $300 area as a potential buy point ahead of a retest of $540 plus, if we can get that. Moving on to the last three. The first one is Smart Digital, and here not much to go on, but hoping that the configuration drawn there in terms of the rising trend channel is correct. $9.70 at the top of the channel. Obviously there was a spike before. If you're cautious, you will want to see an end of day close through $6.30, which we might get today, to give us a move towards $10. On the penultimate one here is Satixfy, and here what's interesting is that we've had two stages up. If there is still life in this stock, then it would be up towards the top of that channel there, as high as $3.84. So the pre-market $2.94 at the moment, and the only problem with that is that there's not really any obvious place in terms of money management on that situation. Moving along to the last situation, which is Siyata, and I think I covered this yesterday. Shares up 100%, obviously, which is always a nice thing to happen. What you can see here is, though, that after hitting the second target there, around $8.30 yesterday, the high was through that zone, $8.44. We've come back and probably needs to test the first target there around $4.70 before heading up there again. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.